Welcome to Vicious Whispers with Mark Tullius, your source for horror, sci-fi, suspense, and all things violent.
Thank you so much for joining me today on Vicious Whispers with Mark Tullius. It is early in the morning, man. I've been up since 3:50, 4 o'clock. Now, part of that is probably my own fault because last night I talked mad shit to one of my co-authors through text. I thought it was funny. In fact, I was giggling about it the entire time, wondering how they were going to take it, wondering if I crossed that line. Lots of my text messages in general, are often kind of inappropriate, often shit talking. Only problem with this one is that it was to my co-author, who is also a black belt that can beat the shit out of me and generally takes it easy on me. We have some good roles, but I also know that he's letting me play. So anyhow, talk my shit to him. And this morning I have to go in for training and my ass kicking. So I probably didn't sleep all that well. I was probably worried about it. Or I was still giggling inside because I thought my shit was funny. So that's how I roll. Today should be interesting. It has been, man, I haven't recorded anything like in 3 weeks. All right, here's why. Yeah, it's got something to do with my brain, fucking, and not having the time, not having the energy, going through a bunch of shit, and that sort of stuff. Sometimes it's just because I'm way too busy, just not enough time, even though this only takes like shit 15, 20 minutes, really. I put everything off. I'm, just too slammed. I always got something going on, especially with all the new brain stuff. I've been doing hyperbaric oxygen chamber over in Costa Mesa. That's been awesome. I've done about 8 sessions. I'll go into that a little bit more. I was put on a medication that kind of fucked me up. Not really bad, but enough to where I did not like it. I had to get off of it. And so all that stuff's going on. Plus, I've got a shitload of fucking books. I'm trying to read a book. It's just pretty crazy how much stuff is going on right now. So that's why I did not do a podcast, but I'm doing it this morning before I go get my ass kicked for Try Not to Die Friday. That's what Fridays are at our gym. Lots of the guys wear their Try Not to Die rash guard. Not everyone has them. You don't have to buy one. It's awesome that these guys do, that some of them have. The ones that have been able to and want to have purchased them. So that's always super cool. Coach Wes always wears one. We'll see how if he's wearing one this morning. I'm guessing he will. So it'll be a battle to try not to die as he murders me, but it's all good. I had it coming. I don't care how bad class is today because like, you know what? Those giggles were worth it. So I don't recommend you talk shit to guys that could kick your ass, but if you do, like, just own it. So I will own it. I will show up today. I hadn't been training. That was one of the big problems over the last 3 weeks. One was my doctors put in my head that, with all my brain damage, maybe I shouldn't be training, right? Might take blows to the head. Those aren't good for me. I'm trying to heal my brain, blah, 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 blah. I get it. But they also said, hey, jiu-jitsu is what helps you get rid of your aggression, your anger, just to chill. And exercise is incredible for you, right? So, especially at my age, you want to be exercising. And so I've just been trying to be more careful. But on one of the sessions, right before I went to hyperbaric training, I took 2 knees to the head. They were light knees, but still, I'm like, is this smart? So 2 weeks ago, I might have got in like only 1 or 2 sessions. Last week, I think it might have only been one, but I was on this medication called gabapentin. So that was the first thing they wanted to try with me based off of my brain scans, and it's a anti-seizure medication. It was on a low dose to help me manage my cannabis reduction, going from shit 100% all day long cannabis, which definitely has a negative effect on the brain. And one of the reasons why my brain is pretty damaged. Yes, it saved me probably, and it's what I used caffeine and cannabis to self-medicate for all these years. What I've been dealing with brain damages since fucking high school football, but it's also definitely done damage. So that's one reason why I am cutting it out. I'm down to probably about maybe like 10% of what I would normally use, 15%. So that's pretty cool. The gabapentin did help with that, but I really started noticing my breathing was kind of messed up, real shallow. Sometimes I would tremble a little bit. Didn't like that. Didn't want to go, had no desire to go and train. That's not cool. So I wasn't really training, just feeling like shit overall, trouble concentrating, sitting at my computer, forgetting what I was doing, just kind of spaced out, not really able to work on stuff. So not acceptable. Like those were not acceptable side effects, especially I shouldn't say that. Those were okay. I was like, okay, I'll deal with those as long as it's preventing me to go into any kind of rage or depression episode. But it didn't. And that's one of the side effects of gabapentin. It could actually increase dark thoughts and all that. So that was what was going on there. So I was like, fuck this. What's absolutely amazing though is that so I stopped that medication, but I just switched over to these functional gummies from Argos. So functional mushroom gummies, because of how well they worked for me, at first I was like, do these have psilocybin in them? It's like, no, they're not psychedelic at all. They're just similar to I took Shroom Tech a long time ago from On It. Dr. Amen has his own mushrooms. You get these kinds of mushrooms from any place, but just so happened that I happen to have these on hand because the other black belt, the owner of 10 Planet Weir, Mike Wilson, had recommended. He said these things are awesome. So try it. He'd given to me maybe a month or two before. I probably had a couple gummies, but I was also always high on cannabis, so I didn't really know whether or not they worked or whatever else. But now I'm telling everyone about them because it's the difference for me is amazing. Not only because one, I'm not having the side effects of the gabapentin, so maybe if I had just completely stopped that and gone back to smoking or whatever else, I would have been fine. But with these, I don't feel the need to use cannabis. When I do, it's at night with my wife just to kind of relax, but not something that I need for sure. It's not no longer like this thing where I need to go out there. I want to go out there, smoke. No, if I do, it's going to be later at night or if someone's over. Maybe I'll chill a little bit with them, but even that's probably going to be stopping. So that was pretty cool. I'm able to focus. I'm so productive. I'm working out and yeah, I'm very grateful. I just wrote to them yesterday. And again, this is all stuff that I will be putting into my TBI or CT book too. This is something I should have done before, but my psychiatrist was thrilled when he found out that I was using these, that it had that kind of effect on me. He said something like how awesome it is, but it was an amazing talk. And he was all for it, and he's like, "Okay, look, that's enough for now. If things change, if I ever have a slide, if I ever feel like I need help, then I'll go back to the psychiatric side of things." But the other side is integrative medicine, still doing all that stuff. I did a sleep apnea test. Yeah, I have moderate to severe, well, moderate, very high moderate sleep apnea, so I need to check that out. A lot of that's probably from my nose being busted up so many times. And even when I was boxing, my coach had recommended I had opened up my airways. So maybe that's something I will do now. I really don't want to get the CPAP machine, but if I have to, if it's going to help, I will do that. So what I have blood work getting done for Lyme disease, a couple of things to see whether or not because I have had it tick me before, had all kinds of little cat bites and scratches. So doing a test for that. So just kind of covering everything, making sure I'm cool with all that stuff. Another thing that might have been definitely helping with overall mood and everything else is I have been doing the hyperbaric chamber, done about 8 sessions in there, have 2 more to go at the Amen Clinic in Costa Mesa. And then we have our own little machine coming. We have our own little chamber. We had been tempted to look and invest into a large one. Those are very expensive, a hard chamber, just so we could have more than one person in there at a time. It's not as could be claustrophobic. So people that are claustrophobic might have a harder time in the soft chamber one. But yeah, we figured that one it'd be such a bitch to even try to get into our house where we put it so fucking loud, blah blah blah. So we're doing the soft chamber. That will still be incredibly effective. It'll be great for all of my family, lots of my friends. So yeah, we're excited about getting that. I will continue doing that. One thing I'm supposed to pick up again is neurofeedback, but I will take my time with that because someone was joking about kind of taking my recovery, how I would sometimes take my training, where it's like, yeah, let's fucking go. Let's do it. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do like, hey, man, how about you just chill? It's recovery, take your time. And I was like, all right, cool. I guess I can. So I am holding off on the neurofeedback because, yeah, that would be another stressor. We'll see how I feel, continuing all this stuff and whether or not I'm gonna go. It might just be something I do a little bit over summer or after summer. Now, a huge thing that my wife and I are thinking of doing, and it wasn't tied to the brain at first. At first is because both of us have really bad arthritis, injuries, all that kind of stuff. We'd had all these great recommendations to BioAccelerator and Columbia. Ashley Evans Smith, UFC fighter, she was fighting for the UFC. She had a lot of injuries. They sent her there. She did it, came back, told us all about it. And I was like, okay, this sounds awesome. I want to do it. My wife wanted to do it. So I called them up, did the consult, pretty pricey, but fortunately we're able to do it. And honestly, this is like, I would rather do this completely, hook up my body, her body, instead of having a fucking really fancy car or, blowing money doing something else. It's like, we only got this body. Is who knows how long we have to live. Let's make the use of it. We both love jiu-jitsu. This will help us continue to be on the mats longer. Our treatment will most likely be an IV stem cell thing, transfusion. So you get stem cells for your entire body, goes and attacks inflammation. And I've already had stem cells. I've had stem cells in my shoulder, and it was fucking amazing. One shot took my shoulder from couldn't do anything for the longest time, so much pain, couldn't lift up like 5 pounds. It would wake me up if I rolled on it to now I'm doing everything I want. I don't do a lot of weights, but I could, but I do jiu-jitsu every day. So, well, when I'm feeling good, I'm doing jiu-jitsu. So I know stem cells work. So not only are we doing the overall body, but then for each individual joint that's bad, I have to do another shot. So I'm doing both hips, also getting my knees done, doing them right into the hands. And then as a super bonus, they have an experiment. Well, I don't know how experimental it is. I need to look into it a little bit more, but where they will take out some of my spinal fluid and then do stem cells directly into my brain. So sounds pretty amazing. We shall see how that goes. Hey, kitty, over here, dude. So I think that's all I wanted to cover on the brain stuff. It is quite a bit, but yeah, now my brain is in a much better place. I am being creative. I am being productive. I am setting up new projects, even when I said I fucking wasn't going to. But I realize some of these projects are important. One that just happened is I'm going to do a mini Try Not to Die with a tryhard. The tryhard is a name that I've given to myself, to Trevor the moth, who's tattooed on my chest, Trevor the tryhard, and for readers. It's like, yeah, tryhard is considered an insult to many people, but I was like, you know what? Fuck that. I am a tryhard. I'm going to try hard at fucking everything. I do want to win. I'm competitive. I want to do the best I possibly can. My family, we're all tryhards. It's also perfectionist type thing, not trying to do that. But my new philosophy with the whole try not to die thing is like, man, not only is it I'm gonna try hard day to day, but it's like I gotta try hard to have a fucking great life, not just to survive. I'm not just trying to survive. I'm like, I want to have an incredible life. I want to have a great fucking day. I want to make someone else's day better, and that's what it's all about. Speaking of making someone else's day better, I don't know. I don't think I talked about this on the podcast yet. I think I might have mentioned that I was doing the barter for a book thing where people could send me stuff, but I never get shit. And a lot of people did it. I got a super cool card from it's up there. I can't show it to you up on the wall from a woman in Australia. This is a super awesome illustration that Pauline Fields did for me. I think she's in Maryland. And so I thought that was super cool. I need to put that up, but I'm still waiting to do. I want to take a photo of a better photo of it with me in it. And check out this little guy. This dude back here, crocheted by Cynthia. That's super awesome. Her and her family actually came. I felt so bad. I thought she lived closer, but she wanted to come and meet me. Brought her family. Is super cool, but they had to drive like an hour in traffic just to meet me. I'm like, holy shit, why would anyone want to do that? Like, who am I? But it was awesome. She wanted to give me this doll, didn't want to risk it in the mail, and I'm glad she didn't because yeah, it's super cool. I'll always be looking at that thing. I got to meet her husband, her 3-year-old son, Bruce, super cool kid. And I realized we were just talking about different what age he was and how much I enjoyed spending those years with my kids. I still enjoy time with my kids, but especially when they were young. And I was thinking of one of the activities we did with both of them was build with magnetiles. Those things are super cool. We've had a giant box here. And I said, hey, do you guys happen to have any? And they didn't, and so I gave them that huge ass box. And now the next day they sent me a picture of Bruce building with them and having fun with them. So I was like, that's fucking cool as shit. So having that kind of connection, having these kinds of the emails, the messages I have back and forth with different readers is pretty incredible. I think they all get it. Usually at first they probably think I'm just being nice and I'm being kind or whatever, but no, their messages really make a difference. Some of these messages are so well thought out and such good advice, sharing so much. I was like, and for me, I was like, those kinds of connections, yeah, that's what I care about. I don't give a shit about much of anything else. I think I realize, yeah, life is short and it's what we have with other people that is important. I'm not gonna remember fucking how many books I put out or any of that kind of bullshit. It's not important. This is something fun that I enjoy doing, but that's about it. And if I could make someone else's day by doing a try not to die with them, and that's fucking cool. I have to be very careful. I said I wasn't gonna take on any more because I've already taken on too much. I'll show you guys my big book of awesomeness in a second. Actually, here it is. All right, so yeah. See, I got a giant sized book. The funny thing about this is I got Coach Wes a mini sized book. So I was like, yeah, bitch, you might be the black belt in jiu-jitsu, but words, yeah, I got your ass. So, but this is where I put all of my notes for the different books. I wrote down the 10 that are just about out. Dark Fairy Tale is just about coming out. But then I wrote down on the next page, I have all the different projects, not even all of them, but I think I wrote down 16 or so that are definitely going to be out probably within well, definitely probably out in 2 years. A couple of them might be pushed back a little bit, but all these are going to be coming out. And then on top of that, I had all other projects, which includes Tales of the Blessed and Broken. I still have 4.5 books, no, 4 books left in that series. Our but I won't get to it for a long time. Our Fucked Up Little Family, that should take about 4 months, I wanna do it. Doomed to Die, the first book is just about done, I just need to do the ending. Short stories, TBRCT Part 2, Our Jiu-Jitsu Journey. Both of those they're currently being made 'cause it's just all my experiences, and my newsletter pretty much is gonna be the basis of a lot of the TBI book. It'll be great reminders of what I was going through. I'll be able to look at social media stuff, so even though I'm not currently writing it, I'm experiencing it. Everything I do, the Colombia trip, the Argos mushrooms, just everything I'm experiencing is going to go into that book. And yeah, so that's kind of cool that I'm able to work on that while I'm doing everything else. Then the other big thing is working on Abraxas. That is the translation of my buddy's book. Nico's, well, we're translating the first book. He's now working on The Trend to Die Between the Worlds, which is set on about, so all about Abraxas as a baby. So like a prequel to Abraxas the novel. And then there's I think he's gonna have probably at least 20 other books. And right now the plan is that I will be translating them from German to English, rewriting them. And that's pretty awesome. I've read the whole thing, but on his final version, I just finished, I think, this first 7 chapters, read them all in German. I don't understand every single word, but I get the gist of everything. Plus, I can talk to him and ask him questions, or I could Google it and find out exactly what it says. So I will start that writing process soon. Yeah, I got a lot of shit going on. I started telling you about the Try Not to Die with its Try Hard, why I was going to be doing that one. That one is with Jamie Bryan. She is a reader that we've had great connections, lots of great messages, really have a lot of fun. And we often joke about, like, oh, try not to die here, try not to die there. This one was trying to die in the hyperbaric oxygen chamber. And I was trying to think of all these cool ways that we could die in it. And I was like, okay, yeah, we'll do a short story based off it. That could be fun. And I was thinking, I was like, okay, this is just to deal with my fear of being in this machine. But then we went back and forth, back and forth. I'm like, oh, fuck, that's not what it's about. It's about this 17-year-old girl that is dealing with a brain damaged father who used to box, and he's really bad. Not like me, I'm not that bad. I'm going to exaggerate my situation. It's what I often do with fiction. I think that's how you can get good fiction. You got to be able to relate to the shit, right? So it will look at the anger, the resentment, the sadness, all these other things that this girl might be feeling for or towards her father, who just purchased a big hyperbaric oxygen chamber for their downstairs where she used to play with him all the time before he fucking went nuts. So just ruined the fucking story for you, but it's gonna take us a while to write it. Anyhow, we got that one going on. It was so cool to see her reaction. She was very, very excited about writing it. Another person that's super excited about doing Try Not to Die, I just hooked up with Angel Van Adam. So She's been awesome. The messages we had back and forth, she had reached out to me about something else, something cool, and I was like, "Hey, by the way, I am looking for some female authors for Try Not to Dies because we have so many men in it." And she was blown away by it. And so that was so cool. She's excited. She's reading through all the books now. So she's working on hers. Mike Salt, he's excited about his. Andrew Nyberg, all kinds of people. I haven't even mentioned lots of these people. I haven't introduced them because I'm so one is I'm just so busy and then I won't think about it. And then there's so many. So right now, I'm trying to do a Try Not to Die map. I'm gonna have my son map out everyone on the North America and a couple others that are around the world, put their cities and name of the book, all that kind of stuff. So we're supposed to be working on that. But again, time, time, time. Speaking of time, holy shit, I talked a long time and I got to go get my ass kicked now. That's the part that sucks, but it's all good. I have it coming. Talk shit and get your ass kicked. That's the way it goes. Oh, before I forget, as far as books go, I finally put some up on my website. Actually, fuck, I don't even think I put the buying link up on my website yet. I meant to, but I now have my books wide. If you're on my newsletter, you'll see it in there tomorrow. I should put it up on the website. That will happen soon. But all the ebooks are on sale through that. You get them much cheaper that way. And what else? What else? What else? I'm not sure what story we're going to go out with today. I think it will probably be something from Twisted Reunion. If you listen for like 20 more seconds, you're gonna hear the title, and you can decide then whether or not you wanna listen to it. Alright, guys, I gotta go. Gotta go get on my Try Not to Die rash guard. Gotta go get my ass kicked. Gotta have a great fucking Friday. I hope you do as well, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.
The rules. Diego's been bouncing his 45 back and forth between his knees since Patches scooped us up in the caddy. Normally we wouldn't be packing for a job like this, but things have been tense with 8th Street for the last month, so Saul is keeping us strapped. Diego's beanie is so low it hides his eyes, and I can't tell if he's coked up. Judging by the way he's bopping his head to the bass, I'm guessing he is. Patches would be losing his shit if he knew he had a gun waving at his ass from the back seat. He's always angry over something, and tonight it's us.
Babysitting.
He says plenty loud for us to hear over the music.
That's what this shit is.
I want to say I didn't ask for this, but that isn't the kind of thing anyone tells Patches. Especially me. Slow and cold, like everything out of his mouth, Diego says,
It ain't gonna take long. In and out, 10 minutes.
I still can't believe we're hitting one of our churches. But Patches says we'll be there in 2 blocks. It's after 11, the street's dark and dead. There's no need to worry about concerned citizens calling the cops. And thanks to Razor's cousin, who's the precinct's night lieutenant, they won't be policing the area. This entire city is poor, but this part is the worst. Nothing of value to bring us down here. But the way the trees loom over the street seems familiar. And all of a sudden I'm in 1st grade peeking out of the back window of a Datsun, serenaded by Julio Iglesias. The smell of wildflowers and baby powder almost as strong as Patches' cologne. Patches slows down in the chain-like fence, which used to be clean and shiny but is now covered in ivy and rust. The fence runs the entire block until it meets the brick building attached to the church. I say, "Oh, damn. I used to go here with my abuela." Patches pulls to the curb, a little farther down the street, and runs his hands through his hair. Takes an extra moment on the smooth scars where it'll never grow back.
Good. Then you'll know where the fuck everything is.
Abuela's been in the ground for 5 years, and I don't remember that name on the sign. Sagrada Iglesia de Santa Muerta. This is a different church now. Patches turns, glares so I can see how much he hated having to do that.
You saying there's a problem?
No, it's fine.
You sure? You afraid of the rumors?
I ain't scared, I say. What rumors? Diego twirls the gun with his finger in the trigger guard.
Place is haunted,
He says, using a spooky voice. I say, You guys are dumb. Patches checks out his window. Don't know. We've been watching this place for the last 2 weeks. Ain't no Bible thumpers going in and out. That doesn't make it haunted. Patches locks eyes with Diego in the rear view. What about you, little D? You scared? Diego looks up. His face hard. Shit, homie. I always ready. My dad thinks I'm studying for tomorrow's geometry test. He'd kill me if he had any idea what I was doing, that I've got anything to do with the gang or Diego. A kid he's warned me about since kindergarten. Diego's dad is a different story. He would have been cheering me on for finally being a man. That's if a drive-by in January hadn't put an early end to his life and 15th year in the gang. Patches parks the car and pulls out his phone. Roach, you know where you riding? Yeah, I say. I got it. The same eyes that look at Diego glare at me. Patches says, let me hear you. Mom knows what's up. That the money I sneak her is coming from somewhere. Keeping that secret is difficult, but hearing me say this would crush her. I stare back at Patches. Slow and clear, I say, fuck your god. Can your dick-licking ass get that shit straight? I ignore his special way of saying dyslexic and tell him I'm not an idiot. Prove it. Patches starts the timer on his phone. Shows us we've got 15 minutes. Get moving. I ain't waiting for either of you. He hits a button and starts scrolling through his feed of hot-ass hyenas and lowriders, AKs, and alcohol. Diego slips on his black leather gloves and tells me, go. I put on my pair and glance up and down the block. It's so clear. Diego gets up behind me and closes the door. The windows are tinted so dark I can't see Patches, just the low glow of his phone. In the reflection, Diego's already waiting for me where the building and fence meet. We can both see over the fence on tiptoe and there's no barbed or razor wire to slow us down. The field, that had been green grass 10 years ago, is now dried up dirt. The corners hidden in shadow. Our intel said there were no guards, not a soul before sunrise. Diego whispers, hurry up. Everything's dead, except for a car driving away from us down the next block. I lace my fingers into a step and nod for him to go. Diego's $150 soaking wet and pops over the fence like it's nothing, lands on the other side with a soft thud. Without any help, I rely on the fence. The rattling so loud and all this quiet. I leap down instead of climb, but that's even louder. The landing a shock to my feet and low back. Everything's quiet. Then there's a quick creak and a bang, the sound of running. Diego freezes and aims his .45 at the corner of the church. I put my back to the wall, ready to scramble over the fence. What the hell was I thinking? I can't get arrested, especially for breaking into a church with a goddamn gun. A large yellow Labrador retriever tears around the corner and bounds at Diego, who's slipping his gun back in his waistband. They told us the dog was friendly and posed no risk, but this is ridiculous. The dog rubbing his face on Diego's fist, his tail swishing hard. I join them and whisper, what a good boy. The dog's tail whips even faster, tongue panting, eyes glued to Diego. Ain't that right? Diego says, mocking my voice. Aren't you just the stupidest fucking animal? Yeah. I check my phone and say, 13 minutes. Diego takes a biscuit out of his pocket and holds it in his fist, just inches from the dog's nose. The dog sits and waits patiently, gobbling down the treat when Diego opens his hand. I ask, you the one? Diego shoots me a look like I'm the dropout instead of him. You for real? How many yellow labs you think they got? He takes the dog's collar and twists it until he sees the name tag. Tonto. Happy? All I want to do is hurry up and get out of here. Diego stands and clicks his tongue, tells Tonto to follow. A quick peek and we're around the corner, everything dark except the small circle of light around the back door. I hurry to the side and peek in the window. Can't see a thing. Diego stays in the shadows and points at the doggy door. You're up. you're smaller than me. And you're the bigger pussy. He grabs a handful of hair on Tonto's head and shakes him. Plus, I've got this guy. I didn't say a word because everything gets back to Saul. The concrete's cold through my chinos. I squeeze through the door, scrape my back on the frame. It's pitch dark, but I light it up with my phone. See, it's a small room, boxes stacked on 2 walls, a dog bed and 2 bowls. Another closed door. I let Diego in and he brushes by me, opens the other door. Go on, fat boy. Tonto sits down, won't go into the narrow hallway. Diego asks, the fuck's your problem? I say, he's probably not allowed in there. Diego pulls out a treat and holds it a few feet in front of Tonto. Come on, you stupid dog, it's all good, little homie. Tonto doesn't budge. Diego takes another step and offers the treat. Plenty pissed, Diego says, get in here! Tonto lowers onto the ground, eyes on Diego, tail slowly swishing the floor. You little shit! Diego tosses the cookie to the side and drags Tonto by the scruff of his neck. There are 2 doors on each side of the hallway, only one open. Diego heads for the door at the end, Tonto whimpering behind him. Trying not to sound nervous, I ask, you even know why we're here? 'Cause Saul said so. There was talk about bankruptcy and a pissed-off landlord. The court siding with the church. Heard the landlord's tight with Saul. Go way back. I don't give a shit if they're brothers. I flash my light into the side room like there might be a clue, but it's empty. There's a bump from the dark hallway, and I hear Diego say, what the hell? I aim the light at him, but don't bother saying sorry. 11 minutes. Diego opens the door, and we're back in the corner of the church. The air sour and musty. He drags Tonto and kneels beside him at the head of the aisle, like they've been partnered up in a wedding. Everything's in darkness, except the flickering red glow coming from the set of votive candles that illuminate the first 10 rows in the altar. Diego slips a switchblade out of his back pocket and flicks it open, holds it out to me. What you waiting for? We didn't agree to this and I ain't doing it. That's all you. I look away from Tonto's eyes and shine the phone on the ceiling. Chandeliers coated with cobwebs. I got the light. Diego shrugs his shoulders. Ain't surprised. He wraps his arm around Tonto's head so the dog can't see the knife. I know I shouldn't say anything, but can't help it. You don't fuck with people's dogs. I thought that was a rule. Diego brings the knife against Tonto's throat. Ain't nothing against the rules. I don't give a fuck if it's someone's kid. If Saul gives the order, you best believe that kid's gonna get it. Then do it. Tough guy. Diego shrugs. No hesitation plunging the knife in Tonto's throat and ripping open a 6-inch gash. Tonto's on the ground, drowning in his blood, legs twitching, hair turning red. That wasn't so hard, Diego says. He grabs Tonto's back paws and tells me to get to the front. I hold the phone in my mouth and lift my end. The light's aimed at my feet, but I can see Tonto's head peeled back. The blood pouring out the widening crack, his tongue dangling out the side of his mouth. Diego starts down the aisle, waving Tonto so hard the blood spraying all over the place. I say, dude, my shoes. He chuckles. Your pants, too. If anything, he goes faster, backing down the aisle, nearly whipping the dog out of my grip. We've got to spread these sheets. I keep my eyes on the altar. Pretend Tonto's just a big sack of grain and we're planting a field. Son of a bitch is heavy, Diego says, his breath a little ragged. My arms are burning by the time we get to the end of the aisle. Instead of going up the stairs to the altar, Diego nods at the set of black votive candles to the right. I back up until we're beside the candles. We raise Tonto up, swing him so the blood douses all but 3 of them. The rancid smoke makes me gag and I almost puke. Diego laughs. The altar. The big white slab of stone is clear. Nothing but a red cloth draped across it. We heave Tonto up and drop him with a plop. I check my phone. 7 minutes. Diego runs down the stairs and over to the other set of candles. His zipper goes down and a stream of piss puts out the flames. I topple the priest's throne and turn back to Tonto. I pretend the blood is ketchup. So warm through the glove. And soak up as much as I can. It's only enough to get 3 letters done before I head back to Tonto for more blood. I'm finishing the message when I notice the arms of the cross are much lower than I remember. The top of the cross is longer than the bottom. I say, "You see this?" Diego zips up his pants. "What?" I point at it with my hand that's not dripping blood. "The cross." "I don't know." A loud whoosh fills the church as flames erupt by the back doors and blaze zigzag down the aisle. Diego's staring, mouth open. I'm not doing much better, just waiting for the fire to leap up the stairs and devour us. The fire zips to my left and reignites the stand of extinguished votive candles, then races to the altar. I back into the toppled throne as the fire engulfs the dog and the wall bursts into flames, my message burning bright. "Fuck your dog." Diego shouts, "Let's get the hell out of here!" Although I wasn't touching anything, my right glove erupts in flames. I peel it off with my other hand, scorching my fingers. None of this makes any sense. But it's not some sort of hallucination if we're both seeing it, hearing it, smelling it, feeling it. Diego tries the side door, but it won't open. Locked. A low growl comes from the altar as the flames dwindle down. What was that?" Diego asks, his voice cracking. All the fire goes out except for my writing on the wall. I can't see Diego from here, but I hear him whispering, "Oh shit! Oh fucking shit!" as another growl echoes through the church. No doubt it's coming from the altar. Tonto is whiter than he'd been, not a single hair singed. His body quivers as he rises to his feet, his eyes fiery red. A giant blood bubble forms on his throat, keeps getting bigger until it bursts. Diego runs down the side aisle, and Tonto spins on the altar, leaps off, and gives chase. I sprint down the main aisle, aim my phone at Diego, who has turned to face Tonto, his .45 aimed right at the dog. Diego fires 2 shots, the first blasting Tonto in the chest, the second taking off the top of his head. But it doesn't even faze the dog, who leaps at Diego, crunching down on his gun hand. The gun drops and Diego shrieks as Tonto whips his bloody head back and forth. "Help me!" Tonto rips Diego's forearm in 2 and tosses the hand to the side. Diego turns for the back door, but Tonto leaps on his back and brings him down. The aisle blocks my view, but not the sound of tearing flesh and Diego's shrieks. I run for the double doors as fast as I can, slam into them with my shoulder. The doors don't budge, and the handles are locked. I look to the door we came from, but that's the aisle Tonto was in. With no other choice, I creep toward the door, phone in one hand, my 9mm in the other. The church is quiet except for a low growl. I turn my light toward the sound. Tonto's mouth is clenched on Diego's throat, shaking his limp body like a new chew toy. I don't want to watch, but I can't turn away. My only chance is to see him coming. There's a massive hole in Tonto's chest, and half of his head is gone, his brain visible. I back into the hallway, and Tonto looks up, drops Diego. His red eyes shine in my light, his growl deepening. It wasn't me," I say, hating the way my voice trembles. I take another step back. "I didn't want to." Tonto rushes forward and I slam the door a second too late, his body bashing it into the wall. He shakes his head and we lock eyes. I drop the phone and open fire. Blam! 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 Until I'm dry firing. Tonto's red eyes are open and he's still growling. I book it down the hallway, eyes set on the square of light outlining the doggy door. I fly into the back room, slide on my knees, throw my head through the opening. Tonto's running behind me, but my upper body is already out the doggy door. I toss the gun down the steps and reach for the railing to pull me through. My left leg's out when a vice crushes my right calf. Tonto's teeth ripping through my skin. I block the pain and pull with all I have, squeeze my hips out the door. Tonto's thrashing back and forth, his growl vibrating up my legs. I give another huge tug and my left leg is out the door, the gun within reach. There's a loud tear and I tumble down the stairs. Stringy tendons and muscles hanging from below my knee. I pull the extra magazine from my pocket and dump the used one, the metal clanking off the step. I slam it in and rack around. Tonto bursts out the doggy door, his face coated with blood. I kick out and connect with the top of his head, squash his gooey brain. "Help!" I scream. "Help! Patches!" The kick does nothing, and Tonto leaps, knocking the gun out of my hand. I try to push him away, but he latches onto my neck, dragging me into the church to meet my maker.